With respect to homelessness, Atlanta has adopted a 10-year plan to eliminate chronic homelessness, one of the most aggressive plans in the United States. It is a public sector, private sector plan, and the United Way in our community is instrumental in putting that forward. The results of that plan were going very well. In other words, we had made investments for permanent housing, training, job training, reconnection between families. Some people are floating through life and are really trying to get back to family or services, of well over 1,200 different people. And then the bottom falls out of the economy. So all of a sudden we see a great new influx. If you ask any service provider in Atlanta, anyone who provides services, United Way, for instance, their 211 number has double-digit increase in the number of calls that they're getting. In some cases, as high as 20% increase in the number of calls they're getting for mortgage assistance, eviction assistance, health care assistance, food assistance. If you ask the community bank, food bank, they will tell you that their demand is so much higher now for working families than it was 60 months ago, and certainly even just a year ago. So we cannot forget that. Now, I'm going to put a plug in for living wage. This state has got to address the issue of how much it costs to live in this state. And we cannot act as if you can live on $5, $6, $7, $8 an hour and support a family and support yourself. Those are fighting words in some quarters. The city of Atlanta tried to add a living wage component to its contracting, which would be voluntary. In other words, if you were bidding for a contract, if you in fact added living wage as a component, we would give you an extra point in the calculation. We were following the very liberal model of Utah. Salt Lake City and Utah have such a plan. The General Assembly decided that they didn't like that, and they passed a state law to prohibit us from doing that. Didn't get a lot of publicity. Maybe you don't even care about it. But somehow or another, we've got to address the issue of living wage. And there is a coalition, and primarily of churches and synagogues and mosques, who are working together in the faith community to present a much broader discussion of the issue of wages. People cannot support themselves at the minimum wage in a thriving, growing, competitive metropolitan area like the city of Atlanta. So that's just the tip of the iceberg, and I'd be glad to talk to whoever asked that question in greater detail later, because you can see I could go on for a long time. Yes.